cooperation deal with the World Islamic Call Society to improve the level of Islamic teaching in Guyana has been secured by President Barry Jagdeo and a delegation currently visiting Libya.
Permanent Secretary of the Office of the President, Dr. Nandakishore Gopal, will now chair the interim board of GAISUCO, which will implement a major turnaround plan.
And Canadian drug officials have arrived in Guyana to assist KANU in the investigations into the 500 kilograms of cocaine found last month in pepper sauce shipped from Guyana.
The details of these and other stories, the Diamond Mineral Water and NCN Sport News and more in tonight's news. Good evening, I'm Delicia Fletcher.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Wednesday, January 14, 2009. Here's what's happening, Paul.
Thanks, Delicia. Permanent Secretary of the Office of the President, Dr. Nanda Kishore Gopal, will now chair the interim board responsible for implementing a major turnaround plan for the Guyana Sugar Corporation. This was disclosed by Agriculture Minister Robert Pussod and Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Luncheon, who highlighted the need for urgent action in the face of evolving challenges. More in this report.
Last year, GAISUCO experienced a significant drop in production caused by the delay of the Skeldon factory, industrial action, bad weather and the inaction of management. Following interventions by government, an interim board has been set up to develop and present a 3-year strategy to turn around the local sugar industry. Members include Permanent Secretary of the Office of the President, Dr. Nanda Kishore Gopal, who has been chosen as chairman, PPP General Secretary Donald Ramatar, and CEO of CLECO Guyana, Geeta Singh Knight.
Activities related to the development of the blueprint for success include reviewing cost-saving initiatives such as the reduction of cost per hectare, improved cane production performance, the progress of the Chinese contractor in completing the tests on this new Skeldon sugar factory, tackling wastage and corruption, relocation of the head office to Albion from Ogle, effective implementation of the management reorganization, mechanization of operations.
He has announced that structural changes will also be implemented across 8 estates to ensure better management. Meanwhile, Errol Hanneman has been chosen to take up the position of CEO and lead the new management team after current head Nick Jackson ends his tenure on February 13. An agreement has also been reached with management company Booker Tate to replace the corporate management agreement with a technical support services agreement.
This will involve required program visit by specialists as well as the provision of specific technical personnel to be based in Guyana as required. The visit by the technical specialists will cover all aspects of the business, including finance, HR, factory and agriculture, and will give specific recommendations for improvement. The current arrangement with Booker Tate will end on March 31st, 2009.
In the meantime, GAISUCO has also secured funds from local and international agencies to offset its outstanding expenses. The company is currently in the process of securing crop financing from the ING Bank for 2009. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardalal.
President Barry Jagdeo and his visiting delegation to Libya have secured a cooperation deal with the World Islamic Call Society to improve the level of Islamic teaching here. This was agreed during a meeting, as Edward Lane tells us.
Secretary General of the World Islamic Call Society, Dr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Sharif, has told the Guyanese delegation that the organization is ready to assist in the areas of education, culture, humanity, and interreligious dialogue. Dr. Ahmed Al-Sharif briefed Mr. Jagdeo on the Society's programs, which includes teaching Arabic to non-Arabs and spreading Islam to those who wish to learn the Quran. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Minister Caroline Rodriguez-Burkett met with Acting Secretary of European Affairs and Foreign Liaison and International Cooperation. During that meeting, they discussed means of promoting political relations between both countries and coordinating their stances regarding regional and international issues of common concern. They also examined strengthening bilateral relations and supporting cooperation of African-Latin spaces. They also agreed during the meeting to discuss potential cooperation and joint investments in the areas of agriculture and mining. Earlier yesterday, President Jagdeo met with the Secretary of the General People's Committee of Libya and discussed various areas of cooperation between Libya and Guyana and examined ways to strengthen these areas. The meeting included participation by the Secretary of Arab Affairs, Deputy Governor of the Libyan Central Bank, Assistant Executive Director of the Libyan Investment Association, and several other experts and specialists. The President and team are expected to leave Libya shortly to travel to Greece for another round of cooperation talks with financial officials, investment specialists, and government authorities in that country. The four-member team, which includes the Ministers of Tourism and Foreign Affairs and the President of the CIOG, will later this week travel to Qatar to continue talks, wrapping up its 8-day visit on January 20. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
The Guyana Islamic Trust has condemned the Israeli aggression against the Palestinian residents of the Gaza Strip. The Islamic organization urges all Guyanese to stand in protest of the wanton slaughter of hundreds of children and innocent civilians. The Islamic leaders has called for the cessation of all military activities in the Gaza Strip and the return of normalcy in the territory. The Guyana Islamic Trust believes all should pray for peace and security during these troubled times for those in Palestine. Up to news time, 1,013 Palestinians have been killed at the hands of the Israeli military, of which over 300 are children, while 13 Israelis have been killed in the conflict. Canadian drug officials have arrived in Guyana to assist customs anti-narcotics officials in the investigations into the 500 kilograms of cocaine found last month in pepper sauce shipped from Guyana. A Kano source says already a number of local businessmen's names are coming up and they will be called in for questioning during the course of this week. Here details.
A team from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived in Guyana last evening and are tracking the links of the cocaine unearthed in pepper sauce that was shipped from Guyana in December. Sources say already a number of businessmen have been named in the alleged drug ring. According to a senior Kanu official, most of those arrested are believed to be middlemen in the business and they will be swooping in on the masterminds behind what they described as one of the biggest drug ring in Guyana. The source told this newscast that already an auto dealer and another businessman have been identified for questioning. Reports are too that the extradition of some of the suspects could be sought. According to the source, Kanu was informed that this particular drug ring has been under investigation for years now and many big business persons' names are surfacing. Reports are too that the extradition of some of the suspects could be sought. According to the source, Kanu was informed that this particular drug ring has been under investigations for years now and many big business persons' names are surfacing. The Canadians have already charged Canadian-based Guyanese Mahindra Paul Dudnot with importing, conspiracy to import and possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. Dudnot's brother Inder Paul, a Luzignan businessman, was also questioned after he turned himself in after a wanted bulletin was issued for him and Amilek Orlando Watson, 31, a self-employed man of Annandale, East Coast, Demerara. Reports are that U.S. DEA officials are also involved in the investigation following another drug bust in the U.S. Virgin Islands on December 24 where cocaine was found in Nibi furniture. Following this, a wanted bulletin was issued for tropical export owner Reginald Rodriguez of All Boys Town. Rodriguez, who was deported from the U.S. in 2001, is said to be a key suspect in the drug bust. Investigators believe Rodriguez slipped out of the country following the issuance of the wanted bulletin. Another suspect in the Miami case, Nimrod Singh of Vreeden Hope, West Coast, Demerara, was held by police in Bartica and questioned by Kanu and police. Singh was, however, subsequently released. Drug enforcement officials have also questioned Robin Barakat, partner Keith King, a deportee who also turned himself into Kanu. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
The Protection of Children Bill 2009 will be presented in the National Assembly tomorrow by the Honorable Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Priya Manikchand. This bill shall come into operation on a date appointed by order of the Minister, which seeks to provide for the protection of children who are at risk and are in difficult circumstances. Clause 3 of the bill states that there will be a set of general principles to be applied when interpreting and administering the provisions of the proposed legislation. The bill allows for a hearing of proceedings under the Act and the Custody, Access, Guardianship and Maintenance Act to be done together. However, this will also allow for a child to be heard in court and provide for the supervision and control of the Child Care and Protection Agency over all administrative authorities functioning under the proposed legislation.